everybody. Welcome. Ahlan wa salam. Nice to see everybody this morning. My name's Andrew Tidswell. I'm from Discovery Education. I look after professional development that we do internationally. So I've just been invited here this morning to speak to you and share with you a few teaching ideas that hopefully get us to look at the way that we can bring more authentic work into the classroom and challenge our students particularly to think about the way that they use the 4 C's of 21st century learning. For those of you who might not be aware of the 4 C's, they're critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. And at Discovery Education, we work very hard on providing opportunities for students to use those skills in the classroom so that they can develop those skills. And as part of that, we've created a series of strategies called our Spotlight on Strategies, which are designed to share those with fellow teachers. So I'm going to come back to this shortly, that you've probably been noticing this video whilst you've been settling in. So I'm going to return to this later. But I want to share with you a couple of ideas. So that's me. I've already introduced myself, Andrew. So we work globally. We're in 53 different countries, 50 million students, and have a huge network of teachers, a digital network of teachers. And we gather the ideas from these teachers of tried and tested practices that work in the classroom. And we call those our Spotlight on Strategies, or SOS. And that's why I've put that phrase at the beginning, open your door and share. Because one of the things we believe at Discovery is that it's our moral duty, our moral imperative as a teacher to share, to open our door, to say, look at what I'm doing. Because Andrew Schleicher said in there, looking outward also helps you to look inward. So by looking at what our colleagues are doing and seeing their work helps us to think and reflect on our practice. So if we want to see what other people are doing, we have to let them see what we're doing. And even if the ideas that you have, you think, I'm sure everybody else already does this, doesn't matter. Open your door. If one person takes an idea from you, that's helping contribute. So it is our moral imperative to do that sharing. So the Spotlight on Strategies, which I will share with you today, they are all freely available. I'll give you the link later. If you want to follow up on any of that with me, come and talk to me. But they're freely available. There's 75 different teaching strategies available, all created by teachers and all used in real classrooms and tested in real classrooms. Okay? So that's the key sort of starting message I wanted to get across, is the idea of our Spotlight on Strategies and what we do there. But at the beginning, we had the little video playing. So I'm just going to start with a very simple strategy. I'm going to use an example of a simple strategy that we have. Not the whole lesson, but just a little simple example. So who can tell me what that video was about at the beginning? What was the video about? What was the theme? Satellites, interesting word. Somebody else tell me what a satellite is. What is a satellite? Okay, that's interesting. So you're focusing on what a satellite does now. It sends signals very often. Does it do anything else? It sends signals. Does it do anything else? Yeah. Facilitates communication. So it sends and receives. But interestingly, we've focused on the technology of what a satellite does. Can somebody tell me a satellite that does not receive or communicate, that was not built by human beings? Can anybody think of a satellite that was not built by human beings, that doesn't send information or gather information? The moon. The moon. The moon is a satellite. So it's interesting when we think about our global competence, looking straight away at different point of view, different perspectives. Perspective here was straight into the technology of what we mean by satellites today from the video we saw. But the definition of satellite is really, simple way, is a body in space that orbits another body that goes round it. And that's what the satellites that we've built do. So that was just a very simple example of a strategy called Silence is Golden, where we get the students to look at a piece of media without the sound, to look at the images and start to make the connections with each other about what is featuring in that video. And it's a really good way of bringing to the surface what the students already know, what knowledge they have, what understanding they have, what perspectives they have, what opinions they have about something that you're about to cover. So you're about to do some teaching and you're bringing these things up to the surface to then allow you to focus on the key learning. Because all learning is always set in a context. And the danger for students sometimes is they see, I am in this lesson focusing on that one learning objective today, and forget that it's connected to all kinds of other learning, including connected globally. So that's one simple strategy. If you go and look on the site and look at Silence is Golden, you will see we would take that further as well and use it more. I'm going to now play a little part of that video for you, but this time we will have the sound, okay? So I want you just to watch the video for a minute or so, take some information in, and then we're going to do a couple of other quick strategies. So you are my class today. You look as though you're very well behaved, very well disciplined, very engaged, and some of you even look very intelligent. So hopefully you'll be really able to support me on the strategy.
Satellites come in all shapes and sizes. From heavyweight giants like the Hubble telescope, weighing in at twice the weight of an adult elephant, to tiny nanosatellites. These 10-centimeter CubeSats are used for research and can be combined, like building blocks, to perform different functions. Whatever their shape or size, satellites are usually sent into space to gather data and images, or to relay communications and broadcast signals around the world. There are 6 main types. Weather satellites help meteorologists.
I'm going to pause at that stage. Obviously, normally in the classroom, we would play the whole video through, but I want to get you thinking about the ideas and seeing them as little simple ideas that get you thinking and getting you start to use the 4 C's. So the first simple strategy I'm going to talk about is this one, A, E, I, O, U, the English vowels, okay? But the way we work with A, E, I, O, U is each one of these letters stands for a word. And it's a way of structuring student response to, for example, a piece of media or a piece of text or an image or a report they've read. So A stands for adjective, to describe, a description. So I want something to describe. That, perfect. Really good one starting off. We've got A for amazing. Okay, so what we would often get the students is have this prepared or them writing it themselves, and they might respond individually, in partnerships, in groups. They may take a longer time with it. We're doing it collectively. So we've got one adjective, amazing. What about another one? Somebody else got something that could describe what you saw in the video. Sorry? Innovative. Okay, interesting. And you can see how we can gather those. So we could do this individually and then share with people in a group and then put together a presentation and share that with the rest of the class. We could share those messages, ideas digitally. We can do it already working in collaboration as a whole group to put as many ideas as we can. One of the things we use a lot is what we call gallery walks. We create something as a group, as a chart, put it on the wall, and we go round and respond to other groups, writing notes, messages, stickers, and so on. The second one is emotion. How does it make you feel, or how might somebody else feel? We talked yesterday in the Ideas Lab about psychological resources, And feelings and emotions are an important part of education. So any emotion that somebody has as a response to that video, what does it make you feel? It's always difficult when you're being put on the spot here. Sorry? Curious. Curious. That's a brilliant word to have, isn't it, at the beginning of a piece of learning with students. If they are feeling curious because they've seen this video, they can be ready to do the learning. So obviously, we would normally take our time and let the students build up their feelings and their responses. The emotion can be what you feel, what you think somebody else would feel, or what somebody who may be in the video would feel. But it's important to get students in the world of tolerance and global competency to get them thinking about their emotions and other people's emotions, even in simple contexts like that. I is for interesting. What was interesting? Something that was interesting in that video. Something that interested you. The actual visualization of it. So you mean the way that the video was actually produced to help you to understand it. If you had seen the whole video, at the end there is an amazing simulation of the 6,000 or more different satellites that are currently in orbit and all the space litter that the European Space Agency have created. So you can see all these thousands of objects flying around the Earth. It makes the Earth look very messy and untidy. But that's a real interesting moment as well. I found interesting the idea of nanosatellites that can connect to each other. I hadn't realized that there were not just satellites working independently, but they communicated, they collaborated. O stands for, oh, I'm surprised by something. What surprised you in the video? I've just given you an example. Yeah. Nano satellites. I was surprised by the nanosatellites, so that's intrigued me. That's added to my curiosity. You is, what question do you have? What do you want to find out next about that video? What would you want to do next? What would be the question that you would ask? Okay, what are the other uses? Okay, and then we can really build on that. The idea of this strategy is it helps to draw together the student responses, but it also gets them thinking about where their learning is going, what they already know, and it's about them sharing with each other, which is all part of this global competency strategy. A second one for you, for this video. We can use what we call the 6-word story. I want you to tell me what that strategy is focused on. The 6-word story. What do you think the 6-word story actually is? So it's very creative, definitely. You have to think very critically as well. It's a brilliant one because the name of the strategy tells you exactly what it is. Nathan's smiling. It's 6 words to summarize the video. So you have to think very carefully, what was the video about? How can I summarize the information in exactly 6 words? Not 5, not 7, exactly 6. I use that with students to quickly summarize information, or I can use it to play parts of a video or parts of text and get the students to write a 6-word story and another one. Then they can use those 6-word stories as the way that they can create a longer piece of report writing. They're the headlines, the plans for each part of their report. Those 6 words, turn it into a full paragraph, turn it into a full page now. So it's a way of filtering information. But you have to, and they share those strategies, they share them so you can collaborate to make your 6-word story. You can do it individually, you can then share it with peers. You can focus on different elements. So you can summarize a piece of video that you've been working on or a piece of research you've been doing and share it with a group who haven't yet seen it. And then they can analyze, were the 6 words accurate? Again, look on the site and you'll find it, and it will give you more details, but that's just a simple starting point. The last one I'm going to do is called 4 corners. We have 4 phrases. Strongly agree, So this is definitely about thinking about your opinions and about communicating those with the 4 C's. We have agree, we have strongly disagree, which I'll put over here, and we have disagree. And what we do here is we pose a question to the students and ask them to move to the corner of their choice. Do they strongly agree? Do they just agree? Do they disagree? Or do they strongly disagree? This fits perfectly with global competency. Hearing the values, the views, the opinions of others and looking at that. Andrew Schleicher said about looking outside helps us to look inside. And I think this is a very simple strategy that helps with that. So a simple little question to think about that could work with this is, I believe that satellites have a positive benefit on the world. I believe that satellites have a positive benefit for the world. So, are we prepared to move? We have strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Move to where you think. There's very strongly agreeing, just agreeing, disagreeing, and really strongly disagreeing over here. I believe that satellites have a positive benefit on the world. Okay, interesting. Made people move, get the blood flowing. Okay, we're generally finding that people are agreeing and strongly agreeing. Are you strongly disagreeing? Playing devil's advocate, okay. Have we got anybody, are you hovering on disagree there? Are you? Yeah, you can. Interesting, and students always do that. They always go, I'll go a bit here. And that's important as well, is that taking that risk, that idea of exposing themselves to that risk and then encouraging them to take a bit more of a risk and be positive. So somebody here, tell me why you strongly agree that satellites have a positive benefit for the world. Yeah, you tell me why you think it's the best.
Make easier communication between others and make life easier.
Fantastic, because it makes communications better and makes life easier. Why somebody over here only agree rather than strongly agree? It's not all the time positive. There are some problems. You're a very positive person. You're thinking of the beautiful things in the world all of the time. You're a bit more like me. You're going, I'm not sure. I've certainly had people who would move towards disagree. Why do you strongly disagree, miss? I'm going to be the strongly disagree. All these satellites are spying on me all of the time. I have no privacy. I have no rights. Governments are controlling me. The world is controlling me. I can't do anything without somebody seeing what I'm doing. Okay? I don't like communicating with other people. I don't want to have this communication. We can see what I'm saying, can't we? That the idea is that you're testing your own opinion and you're hearing the opinions of other people. And we would often then give the chance for students to listen to those opinions and say, okay, if you feel after that discussion you need to move to another space, please move to another space. But because of the sake of time, please return to your seats. Thank you for getting on your feet. That was brilliant. So the basic concept, of course, all the time is finding simple, effective ways in the classroom that enables your student to use those 4 C's. To collaborate like we were doing there. We were collaborating even though we were disagreeing. We were communicating very clearly. I was facilitating that as the teacher. We were then thinking very critically about what was the information we'd received, how do we process it, how do we connect it to our previous learning, how do we get that message across to others. And then certainly with something like the 6-word story and AEIOU, we had to be quite creative with our choice of words, our choice of language. Those are the skills that we're really working on now. I get worried about using the phrase 21st century learning because we're already 1/5 of the way into the 21st century. It's future learning, it's current learning. Like Andrew Schleicher said, Anthony Jackson said, when the teachers are qualified, they're qualified to teach for now. We're moving on all of the time. If you were to come back to Kudwa in 10 years' time, we might be moving away from the 4 C's. We'll be on to something else. but this is a very current theme. So just to kind of bring things to a close, that's the address. If you go to just the first part, discoveryeducation.co.uk, they're there in free resources. There is a QR code, but that's the list of the 75 strategies we make available. You can filter them by age range. You can also filter them by what purpose you want. Is it about analysing? Is it about forming opinions? Is it about acquiring vocabulary? So where it says more filters, click on that, and it gives you the option to filter in different ways. Each one is then suggesting what type of resource, video, image, audio, text, that it can work with. And when you follow each one through, you can get a summary on the site and a freely downloadable PDF of the strategy. But each strategy is what I call a pebble in the pond. It's your job to make the ripples. We give you the little pebble, you make the ripples. If I came back and said to you, you've used the placemat strategy, how have you used it in your classroom? I would expect it to eventually be very different to what it said to start with. We've given you the recipe, but your version will be different in the end, okay? Because that's the power of teachers. Because we strongly believe in connecting teachers to their most valuable resource, each other. As teachers, we're all thieves. We steal ideas from each other. I like your idea, I'm having that one, making it my own. I love your idea, I'm going to have it. But I'm going to make it a little bit different. And that's how we all move forward. So please do use those. They're free for you to use. And think about how you might want to adapt them and share them with your colleagues. And the ideas that you have, share those with your colleagues. So just to conclude, when we're teaching for global competence, we are teaching other teachers for global competence. So we need to pass it on to create a stronger profession. You take that baton, pass it on to your colleague, and we become stronger by binding all those complex ideas together. Shukran Laikum for listening to me. I've really enjoyed working with you. That's the first time I've ever taught a lesson where my class has grown to twice the size during the lesson. Across the whole year, I've had classrooms get bigger, but never have my classroom got twice the size as it started with. So thank you for those of you who've joined. Thank you for those who are participating. Your job is to share and pass on ideas to your colleagues. Thank you very much.